Welcome back to Ultimate Combat Radio. Mike Stidham here, talking some mixed martial arts, talking some Ultimate Combat. Would like to invite you all to join us in the conversation. If you'd like to give us a call, 4-5 or 670-1280 is the studio line, or you can text the word ZONE to 53318, followed by your message, and then feel free to leave your comments for Jeff Monson, or if you have anything else you want to talk about, we'd be happy to hear from you. This segment is brought to you by Aztec Highway. Aztec Highway is located at 3300 South West Temple. Get it your way at the highway, WDFA, and Aztec Highway is your place to get. Number one, you can get discount Ultimate Combat tickets there. You can get them for $10. How do you watch an MMA fight for $10? And then when those are out, they're the limited supply, and when those are out, you can get them for $20. So, I mean, it's a great deal. And then we've always said, if you go down, spend $100 in the store, we're going to give you 2 free VIP tickets to the show, to the big fights, the Ultimate Combat fights. So go down and check them out. Aztec Highway, they've got all yours. Krehl, help me out here. What do they have?
Oh, they got Dethroned Royalty. They got Bad Boy. They got Tap Out. They got all the major brands. And the thing that's nice when you pick up tickets there, no service charge. It's cash only, but no service charge.
And typically, as you go, as you know, let's say you go to Smith's Sticks and buy some tickets, you're not really probably going to be talking to the most attractive people, but if you go to Aztec Highway, the girls
see the highway hottie.
My goodness, they're very. It makes me want to go buy tickets, and it's my show.
There you go.
That's how good looking these girls are. So, as mentioned before, we got Jeff Monson in studio now. If those of you who don't know who Jeff Monson is, I'm going to let him kind of take the mic and tell us who he is. Jeff, tell the folks that this is a sports talk radio, and a lot of sports fans don't know a whole lot about MMA. But those of you that do, this guy is one of the biggest names in the business. What's your background? What's your pedigree, if you will?
Well, I started off wrestled at University of Illinois, and I actually wrestled at Oregon State, and then transferred to Illinois, and we wrestled BYU down here. That's the times I've been here, and then I just got moved, got my master's degree in psychology, and just never really got the competitive bug out of my system, and I went to Seattle and started doing counseling and stuff, and I wanted to wrestle, so I kept going to the U.S. Open every year and wrestling high school kids and stuff to get prepared, and I'd come close to try to make the Olympic ladder or the world team ladder, not like the guy, but at least in the top 6 or 8, and I'd come close, but I just didn't have any competition to get me, prepare me. So, luckily I ran into Josh Barnett and Dennis Hallman and some of the guys, and Murray Smith, some of the guys up in the Northwest that were, doing with MMA, and that just kind of hit home. So, went to Abu Dhabi and won the World Grappling Championship, and then decided that's what I wanted to do.
He just went to Abu Dhabi. Well, now look, we all know that you're a great athlete, you're a great fighter, and an amazing grappler. But I really want to talk some politics, man. You're a fascinating guy to me, and let's talk a little politics. Tell the folks what you stand for.
Well, when people ask me that, because they say you're anarchist, what does that mean? And I usually come back. I ask them, well, what would you see an ideal society to be? And they like, well, everyone's working, and everyone's participating, and there's healthcare and education, and everyone has enough afford a car, or to eat and all that kind of things. And I say, well, that's kind of what anarchism is. It's a society where everyone has a means to survive without competing with each other.
How do you accomplish that? How does everybody get to where they can have a means to survive without?
Well, you get rid of the government.
Well,
people, they always tell me, like, oh, man, it's our primal instinct to, compete and, survival of the fittest and that. And I say, well, if you go back, our instinct is to be a society, to be communal, to work together. Because if you're back there trying to get, hunt on your own, or, gather on your own, or do that stuff, you're going to die. You needed people. We're social creatures, and we need each other. So, MMA, chess, baseball, all that stuff. That's where the competition should be on the fields, or that kind of thing. Not competing with each other for the basic resources to live. It's crazy. We got enough stuff on this earth for all of us to live comfortably. And, you know, the UN says that 54% of the population goes hungry, you know, every night, you know, less than $2 a day. I mean,
that's sad.
That's what we got now ain't working. So,
yeah. Well, do you feel that your exposure as a fighter or your prominent position in MMA, do you feel like that, A, does it offer you a platform to share these views, and then B, do you feel like you kind of have an obligation to share these views being in that position?
Yeah, no, I do. You know, I think there's a lot of, you know, athletes, and I don't want to pick on Tiger Woods because he's been through through hell, but he's a guy that, you know, could stand up for some things, and he's been, you know, like a vanilla wafer. He doesn't stand for nothing, and it's like, it's kind of disappointing. He could make a little difference in some of the things, but yeah, I feel it's, you know, I'm feel like one of the luckiest guys on earth. I get paid to do what I love. You know, I can afford to buy groceries, and, you know, my kids are in school and that kind of stuff, you know, and I, you know, living in America, and it's, you know, I have all these opportunities afforded to me, and you know, I'm one of the, you know, we're one of the very few that has all these things given to us, you know. So you know, I think I need to work hard and do that, but also had the opportunities to see, you know, the absolute dirt poverty in Brazil and the Philippines and in Haiti and some other countries where we can't even, you know, conceive it other than, right, you know, what we see on TV. So
right. You mentioned your family there, and we tried to get you on the radio program a couple of weeks ago to kind of try to hype you coming up here, and we were told that you couldn't do the interview because that's the time that you put your daughter to bed, and to me, that was the coolest excuse I'd ever heard, man. I said, you know, how do you argue with that? That is one of the neatest things, and it really, you know, I've always respected you, but I respect you even more because you're that big tough guy, but your family's important to you, and tell us a little bit about you, the person, and your family, your family life.
Well, I have 3 kids. I have an 18-year-old son that's going to be going to the University of Minnesota on an academic scholarship this fall. Wow. My daughter's 15, freshman in high school, and I got a story later about her. She's my inspiration. She's everything to me. And then I have an 11-month-old daughter, and I read a real cool thing the other day. It was in I think it was a New Yorker magazine, and it was describing this woman talking about being a parent and all this stuff, and then she goes, she had an 18-month-old son, and she goes, you know, this 18-month-old baby who's never said one word to me is my best friend in the world. I know him better than I've known any human being ever, and that's quite a statement because
sure,
knows everything, what he wants, what he's thinking, what he's like, his routines, right, his thing, and that attachment that you have with a child is, you know, something pretty special.
Yeah, it is. That's pretty neat. Let's talk a little MMA. I understand you're planning on fighting at 205. Is that the game plan?
Yeah, it's in the works. Not the next one, but
okay.
Yeah,
205.
Yeah. which he would be a beast at. But let's you give us a little bit of news. What's going on in your career? What's the big news we want to hear about?
Well, I've signed with Strikeforce, so
yeah,
we'll be fighting soon, and so that's the news. So I've been kind of looking to, you know, get into the Strikeforce and UFC for a while. I've been fighting in every organization and every continent for the last couple of years, and you know, it's kind of good to find a home again.
And so, are you still aspire to fight for the UFC championship at some point, or what is it? What is the long range goal?
I have to see what the cards are. You know, I mean, Zuffa owns them both. It's kind of, you know, whatever. I do this not for the paycheck, but I want to fight for a championship. It's what I want to do. So you know, I see that more in the cards at 205, and that's why I mentioned that. So you know, down the road, you know, I want to, you know, win some fights, and if it's UFC or Strikeforce, you know, that I don't know if that'll be my decision, but if I win, then you know, I'll set up that opportunity for myself.
You're on the dark side of 40. How much longer do you want to keep doing this? And is it really dependent on whether you reach your goal or not, or is it? Do you kind of have a time frame that you feel like you want to keep doing this for?
You know, as long as I'm motivated and I can be good at it. You know, I'm not going to do it if the opportunity to realistically fight for a title passes by, I'll be done, because I don't think I could be motivated just to, you know, I'm an MMA fighter and
right,
yeah, I fight MMA and stuff. Not when, like, Yeah. Okay. I want to be the best. If I can't be the best, I don't want to do it.
Right, I got you, and I appreciate that. I think a lot of guys try to push it beyond their limits, and that's what I think. In reading some of the interviews you've done, that's what kind of makes you special. That you're not just doing it. You want to be the best at what you do, and to me, I take my hat off to that.
Will you continue training after that time has come? I mean, is training going to be a part of your life forever? Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, or is coaching something you're up to as well?
I think I'll do jiu-jitsu and do the grappling tournaments as long as if I can be successful at those. I think that's something you can do for a long time. Afterwards, what I want to do is do seminars like I'm doing tomorrow. I want to get some schools that I do seminars for, and travel the world and teach and meet new people. And I think that sounds pretty exciting.
So, speaking of the seminar, you're going to do a seminar tomorrow at the Ultimate Combat Training Center. What can people expect to see or learn in the seminar?
I take pride in, I try to be the best at whatever I do. And, the seminar, I teach a lot of philosophy stuff, like whether you just your first day or whether you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu or grappling. I combine a lot of jiu-jitsu and wrestling technique, and I teach what I do. I'm not a traditional jiu-jitsu background guy that's going to put you in a triangle, or I can show you how to do it, but so can 500 other people in the city, So, I teach position before submission, and I teach a lot of philosophy. So you're going to get something out of it, like putting yourself in positions where you can be advantageous. Like I said, I won Abu Dhabi in '99 with probably 2 months of jiu-jitsu experience, but
that's ridiculous.
And I read that, and that's where the Brazilians really felt they gave you so much credit, was that you were able to do that. They were just kind of in shock.
Is that's where you got the snowman?
Yeah, that's why I had the snowman moniker. But that it's not so much I'm so great as just the coach Matt Hume, my coach at the time, just showed me, hey, look, if you are in this position, if we're going to grapple in this position, you're going to have the advantage. If you're going to grapple here, if you're just going to roll on the mat and do this stuff, you're going to get beat. I mean, I think afterwards we went and trained in their facility, and I trained with a lot of guys, light guys, big guys that I had competed with at the tournament, and I was getting tapped left and right. And it was just because we were just rolling, not competing. And it was like, it really was an eye-opener. Like, yeah, because these guys have been jiu-jitsu for 20 years, and if I'm going to just roll around with them, they're going to kill me. So I have to put myself in positions where I'm better. So that's where I kind of got that philosophy.
Is this seminar, is it going to be strictly jiu-jitsu and grappling, or is it going to be like an MMA mixed into it?
I always throw a little bit of MMA. It is jiu-jitsu and grappling. And I like to call it grappling because it's not jiu-jitsu. It's wrestling and jiu-jitsu combined. It's sport grappling. But I always throw some MMA stuff in there because a lot of positions that I end up in are good for MMA. And like I said, like I show stuff that I use. I'm not, there's a lot of clinic moves. Oh man, you can do this twister, knee bend and stuff. It's like, you're not going to get that. It's just like me showing a triangle. It's like, oh, here's a triangle, but I'm 5'9". I'm not going to get it on a 250-pound guy.
You and Mike can work together.
Yeah.
And if I get it on you, you should retire.
Oh man, that is awesome. I'm looking forward to the seminar tomorrow. I hope you guys, somebody come down and check it out, because Jeff Monson, I'm actually kind of speechless right now because I'm excited about some guy of his caliber going to be teaching this stuff tomorrow. So if you get a chance, come by. We're at the Ultimate Combat Training Center. Once again, the address there, 12101 South State Street. And then if you want to have any questions about the seminar, give us a call. 801-967-5295 is the number. Jeff Monson, thank you so much for coming on the show. And
I appreciate you having me. Glad to be back.
We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Man, good stuff. How do you follow that up? We're going to find out when we come back. More Ultimate Combat Radio when we come back.